Welcome to Enjoying Everyday Life with New York Times bestselling author Joyce Meyer. On today's program, Joyce will be teaching from her series, The Invisible Kingdom. Instead of looking at the world around us, try and think about what's happening in the spiritual realm. It's time we see into the unseen. God has so many good things going on. Now, here's Joyce with today's teaching.
And I pray that God don't give me anything that I can't handle and still keep you first in my life. I don't want it. I'll be done with this in a few more years here. Let me tell you, you feel different about things when you get a little bit older. Things that used to be so important to you. I mean, I used to love to shop. Oh my gosh, shopping was like entertainment. Come on. I mean, just go out and roam around the malls and go in and out of the same stores and then go to the next mall and go do it the next day and the next day. And now I mean, it's like, really? I have one place where I buy most of my clothes, and I enjoy going there. The woman's a friend of mine. I've been buying clothes from her for over 30 years. It's not that I don't like pretty things, but I don't crave them or have to have them like I once did. I mean, if you have 50 pair of shoes, do you really need another pair? And if you are going to bring one in, then have a guideline. When something comes in, something goes out. Amen? I'm kind of okay with that, but at least if you're going to bring more in, the world is so deceptive. How about this one? Buy this new car today and no payments for 1 year. Well, that sounds good. Only problem is a year from now, when the payments start, the car don't look that much different than the one you turned in to get the new one. Only since you really couldn't afford it, you had to take the long payment plan. So now this car that's a year old, you've got to pay on for another 7 years. I bought a piece of jewelry one time at a jewelry store, and when I got it home, I thought, this don't look like it did in the store. Have you ever noticed that? And I realized it was the lights in the jewelry case. And I actually took it back. I just said, I'm all for pretty things, and you know, I've got more shoes than I can wear and more earrings than I can wear, but I do try to be generous with what I have and give all the time. But you cannot let those things mean more to you than Jesus does. And don't let your relationship with him be all about trying to get him to give you what you want. Don't seek him for his presence, P-R-E-S-E-N-T-S, but for his presence. Can I have those two packages, Matt? I'm going to give you an example of how the world is and how our flesh is. Now, I got these two packages here, and one of them is just wrapped in brown paper, and boy, that one's pretty, ain't it? Now, most of you, there's always somebody that would do it right, but most of you, if I said, which one of these do you want, you'd pick this one in a heartbeat. So this is the way the world is. It looks so pretty. Oh, it's got to be wonderful. But guess what? Nothing in there. Now this one doesn't look all that inviting. It probably just kind of feels like a book. Oh, what? The Everyday Life Bible. Now, this is the greatest treasure that anybody could ever give you, because the kingdom is in here. All these upside down principles that are really right side up, that's what this is full of. I saw a movie one time about a grandson who thought he was going to inherit his grandfather's estate, which was a sizable amount of money. And when he sat down for the reading of the will, he got a Bible. And he was so ticked off. I mean, he was not happy at all. And so for years he was bitter and angry about what his grandfather had done, and he wouldn't open the thing or read it. But several years went by, and he was having a rough time, and he got it out, and he started reading it, and kind of read it in succession, and he got about to the middle of it and found a note about what his real inheritance was and where he could get it. So his grandfather had left him the entire estate, but he didn't want him to have the money without having the kingdom. Don't compromise your moral values to get a man, to get a woman, to get a promotion at work, to get friends. Because if you have to buy your friends, they don't like you anyway. Did you hear me? Seeing into the unseen realm. 1 John 2:16 and 17. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh, the desires of the eyes, and the pride of life is not from the Father, but it is from the world. And now listen to this. I really want you to get this. And the world is passing away along with its desires. But whoever does the will of God abides forever. The world is currently passing away. Now, I firmly believe that in order to really live in the kingdom according to the kingdom principles and serve God properly, that there are going to be sacrifices. Not a real popular word today. And what I mean by that is there's going to be some things that you just can't do. You can, but it's not going to be good for you. And many of those things you can do, it won't cause you to lose your salvation, but it will cause you the loss of the joy of the kingdom that you can live in here on earth. Paul prayed that I might know you in the power of your resurrection that lifts me out from among the dead even while I'm in the body. So he was saying, okay, there's a realm I can get into that even while I'm going through things, I can be lifted out above it. We can be like the eagles who take advantage of the storm, and we actually fly above the storm and look down at them. But when you make sacrifices to do the right thing, is anybody hearing what I'm saying? If you would take a chance on losing your job rather than compromising your morals to keep the job, if you would choose to be alone rather than to enter into an immoral relationship, and don't turn your television set off. Just because you don't like what I'm saying doesn't mean you don't need to hear it. See, God's got something better for you than sin. But sometimes you got to wait on it. And sometimes you got to get to the point where I would rather have no friends than to have wrong friends. I'd rather never be married than be married to the wrong person. Amen? And I was thinking about Dave. See, when you make sacrifices, God rewards you. I mean, he just does. That's all there is to it. And one of the things that happens is it gives you a lot of favor. And favor is it's just flat out fun. I mean, it is just fun when you have the favor of God on your life. Because these things happen to you that really shouldn't happen, and it doesn't make any sense to anybody else, but you know why. It's just a little wink from God saying, I got you. Come on. And so as we got into ministry, first I got into ministry, and Dave initially didn't want much to do with it, but God quickly dealt with him, and just in a few weeks, he realized that he's a fast learner, not like me. I learn kind of slow. But he said God just showed him she's anointed to teach, and you back her up. Don't try to do something that you're not anointed to do, and you'll always have joy. And Dave is the happiest guy, and he's got to be secure. You can't be married to me and not be secure. And to me, that's a real man. But one of the things that Dave had to give up as we started to travel, because every meeting that I've ever done, except the ones that I did during the day when he was still working in the engineering field. But since he quit that job, every meeting I've ever done, except maybe 2, he's been right where he's at, right there. And I don't know how he can laugh at my same jokes all the time, but he says he likes it, so. But one of the things, he was in a little golf league. Dave loves his golf, and he was in a golf league. And I remember when he had to give that up in order to do what God had called us to do. And I remember it being a little bit difficult for him. It was hard. It's hard to give up things that you really enjoy. But just recently, Dave played golf with Jack Nicklaus. Well, okay, now listen. A boy from Fenton doesn't do that. But God, come on, do you hear me? So when you step over into that unseen realm, and that's what Dave was doing when he quit his job and he gave things up. Well, I mean, we had a dream. We weren't seeing anything yet. You should have seen us in the early days. I mean, we had a car and a little bubble trailer. And there was me and Dave and a worship leader, and our one daughter and son-in-law drove the resources, took their kids with them. By the time my daughter got 2 babies, she cried for a year, and the road was no place for her. But so many people sacrificed for us to be able to help the amount of people that we help today. So many people sacrificed. And if you want something real and valuable, something that will really warm your heart and make a difference in your life and bring reward, then be willing to sacrifice the non-essentials for the things that are essential.
No matter what we see or don't see, we can trust God is working in our lives. Today's resource offering will let us truly know He is always right there with us. Request your copies of Joyce's books, Learning to Hear God's Voice and How to Talk with God, now. These are available now for a gift of $25 or more. Visit joycemeyer.org or call toll-free at 1-800-789-0089. Your gift today and your partnership with Joyce Meyer Ministries allows us to share the love of Christ around the world. Thank you for listening to Enjoying Everyday Life. Have a blessed day.